So now looks like we're finally ready. So hello everyone, my name is Olga Feldmeier. I'm CEO and co-founder of Smart Valor. And with this, welcome to Smart Valor office in the Swiss Crypto Valley, Zug. And here with me, part of our co-founding team and management team, Julian Bringer.
Hello, guys.
And Oliver Feldmeier.
Hello. Hello.
And the reason why we are here today is because it was us three and Felix who were in Hong Kong last week, and it's been quite interesting journey. And we received so many questions that people asked us to repeat that session and do a little live web chat, right? So first of all, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you have your lunch break or any other kind of people in Asia probably have a dinner break, and hopefully you have something to drink and to eat while you listen to our talk. We're going to talk a little bit about this journey to Hong Kong and why this region is important for our business. We're going to talk a little bit about what we are doing and where do we stand, and do a little announcement about the next event. While we are speaking, you have an opportunity to ask questions. On the right-left corner, there is a chat function where you can basically post question. And actually, we want to do this session in the way that it's not just us talking, but actually you guys asking a question, and then we will be proactively answering as the questions come in. And we have here the moderator with us, Felix Simon, who will help us to plow through the questions. So with that, again, welcome to Smart Valor, welcome to Crypto Summit. For probably for guys among you who probably don't know what we are doing and what is actually our current core business, it's maybe a little bit recap. So basically, we are a Swiss company based here in Switzerland, one of the very few really with a team here. As you see, this is, hopefully you see it a little bit orange. They're actually hosted by Thomson Reuters labs in their office, which is, quite a great thing. Also, we've been nominated by Forbes to be one of the 10 most exciting European tech companies, small company startups to watch in this year. And our current business is actually all around creation of marketplace for tokenized alternative investments. We are today around 20 people company in total. And we are building this platform. Here you can see it's actually a marketplace for tokenized investments. And tokenized investments, everybody straightforwardly think about ICOs. Yes, it's ICOs. Tokens are also cryptocurrencies, new protocol tokens, but it's also actually any kind of asset-backed tokens, right? So tokenized real assets, right? You could tokenize this piece of art, or you can tokenize a house, or any kind of liquid asset. Anything from the space of alternative investments. This is our focus. So on our platform, you're going to find products such as tokenized crypto hedge funds, tokenized real estate, tokenized commodities, and even currencies. We have a two-staged approach. At the beginning, it's all about cryptocurrencies and utility tokens, and in the second stage, we'll move into security token space. And with that, maybe I just move a little bit to what else we're doing. Since we've been very active in this community here in Switzerland, and the size of the meetups were growing and growing. At some point, it was more sensible to make a conference and not just a meetup. So we started this series of Crypto Summit last year, and the last one was in March, was very successful. It became the largest blockchain conference in Switzerland with a lot of great people on board. 2 days event, 1,500 people joined. So that was all a big success, and we decided to continue it, and the next one is coming up in October 28th, 29th. So please make sure you follow us and maybe even come and visit Switzerland and Crypto Summit. More than that, apart from being in Switzerland, we extended this event to, we actually wanted to spread the word about Crypto Valley, Switzerland, and what we are doing here. So we started into this Crypto Summit World Tour, going to different locations. We've been in Dublin, we've been 2 weeks ago in Hong Kong. That was great, and we are going to do this in several other, in 6 other cities in the next months. What else? Well, if you would ask why Hong Kong, why we were there, apart from RISE, that is like a huge, huge conference. They invited us as speakers, which was great. And we actually decided to also host our Crypto Summit event there, because today Hong Kong is not just, the center for crypto investors, which, you know, partially came to Hong Kong as a consequence of regulatory toughening in China, and a lot of Chinese investors who were involved in mining business, in crypto exchange businesses in China. They were actually pressured to go to some more safe and stable destination like Hong Kong. But also traditionally, if you look at the place of Hong Kong in today's banking sector, well, it experienced significant growth, and today it's the third most important and largest wealth management destination, mainly benefiting from Chinese investors and Chinese inflow of capital. If you look at the current situation, of course, Switzerland doubtless is a capital for wealth management. Some 4 trillion assets are stored here, the half of which is coming from offshore. And by the way, China being one of the biggest contributors. Um, and this is actually still the same. Also, Hong Kong and Singapore are picking up the space, and the growth rates are much faster in those jurisdictions. So for us, it's of strategic importance to be there. We're thinking about opening a representative office in Hong Kong, just to be closer to our potential customers. And also maybe the last remark on this topic, via Smart Valor, a platform for tokenized investments, we are targeting the customer segment of approximately, let's say, upper affluent, 100,000 to 1 million, and lower high net worth, we call it. Those are the customers somewhere from 1 to 5 million wealth brackets. And why is this segment? Because this segment is traditionally completely underserved by Swiss banks. Swiss banks are not very interested in engaging with customers within that low wealth bracket. But on the other side, this is the segment that is large enough to be efficiently covered and serviced in a platform business way. Right? If you look at the distribution of wealth in this segment, it's actually Europe is one of the largest destinations, followed by US, but you also quickly see that Japan and China are one of the 2 largest countries that possess massive wealth in that segment. And as a traditional investors will start to look into crypto space and wonder how they can get exposure to this new asset class, we see ourselves as a perfect destination for those customers from around the world. This is why we were in China. This is why we are going to Japan and Hong Kong for more sessions and for more presentations. And with that, I would say probably the reasoning is so far over. So we just probably close on that and look to the our moderator and the questions which are hopefully coming in. How does it look like, Alex,
Sure.
at the moment?
We are already having some questions in here. The first one comes from an investor in Switzerland. He's asking, what is the difference between a marketplace and an exchange?
Well, I think marketplace um, is more kind of like online investment platform where investors come not just to trade on daily basis, but are looking for long-term investments, right? Exchange is typically is a place, for daily trades, for arbitrage traders, for basically people that engage in the space every day. And today in cryptocurrency space, for many people, this is a way to invest, right? But also, this section of or group of investors that are for the long haul in this industry is growing increasingly. And as we will see, institutional investors are joining this place. For them, it will be much more about online investment platform than about daily trading on an exchange.
Okay, a little bit fitting to this is where do you guys stay on the technical side? What can we use already?
Let me take this one. And on the technical side, indeed, we are running on an exchange backend. So even so, we have the front end of this marketplace, of this trading platform. Of course, on the back end, we are powered by an exchange backend and also with different integrations with the various public blockchains. So where do we stand? We have 2 months ago launched our prototype for public access. On the slides, you see the link, and you're more than welcome having a look at this. Well, this was the version from 2 months ago of our platform, the prototype. We are currently working on bringing it into production. Basically integrating with different public blockchains and implementing a different exchange backend, a more powerful exchange backend, and you will have the technical readiness to launch this platform at the end of August.
So it's going to be hot August. Huh?
It's gonna be a busy August, but end of August we have technical readiness. That being said, public launch of this platform might still take a bit longer due to regulatory work and licensing. We are expected to receive soon. On the one hand, on the other hand, preparing all the operational processes for the public launch. This will be a bit longer. So I would currently estimate the launch to be in October.
Okay, Anonymous is asking, and probably a developer, whether this is your development and how many developers you have in your team.
Mm-hmm. So we are currently a team of 20 people, and well, I would say more than half of them are working on the development on the tech side. That being said, it's not we don't do all the work. We are responsible for the overall integration and making the system work, the entire system. But we have different providers and technology providers that help us in certain areas. For example, there was the partnership we announced with Ledger, where we'll be using their hardware security modules for safe custody. Another provider is on the side of the exchange, so the order book and matching engine. This is provided by one of the leading exchange providers. So our overall challenge is here the overall integration.
Okay.
Any more questions? Guys, remember you can go to the website where you see the video on our website. On the right corner, there is a chat and you can enter the questions there. So hopefully you use it.
Well, actually, we already have one. We actually have a couple. Let's see. The next one is you made an announcement about the Ledger partnership. Can you elaborate on this one and what kind of service you're offering?
Well, I will take that one. Good question. Well, Ledger is well known as the leader in providing security technologies for securing your wallet, your cryptocurrencies. Well, that's a great things that we achieved to establish a partnership with them among other key stakeholders like investment managers, key capital investment firms. And well, they are great guys, they are providing great technology, so I think we will figure out. No, not kidding. We have different angles. First, building with them and partnering with them is the way to basically to help to tailor them, help them to tailor their solutions, their backend solutions, their hardware security module, as Oliver was mentioning, in order to fit our needs. And where they are already very advanced is that thanks to their solutions, the hardware, the Nano S, they are already able to manage a lot of cryptocurrencies, a lot of coins. So this will enable us to manage also on our side a lot of different cryptocurrencies, and we work with them in order to manage also the tokens that we will generate on our platform, like the security tokens later on. Also on top of that, we are developing a couple of additional security layers in order to be even more specific to our business needs, to manage the risk of different operations. And what is very important with their offer, and thanks to the way we are using it, is that it enables us to, from the scratch, from the design and from the beginning, the setup, really the initializing of the system, to ensure there is no single point of failure, no single one user, one administrator controlling the system being able to fly away with the platform assets, but also with the assets managed for the customers. And that is one part of our strategy. Other aspects are dealing also with other kinds, similar partnership with other security providers.
Another question is on compliance. Where do you stand in terms of licensing?
Licensing, probably. I will take this one, my favorite. Licensing.
Favorite? You really like working with the regulators?
That's a tough one.
Well,
somebody has to do it.
They are all different, and some are really fun to engage with. So basically, our licensing, this is our strong point. We've been engaged in this space for a while now. I was leading the regulatory case for Xapo before, and we achieved great results for Xapo. So the same way today, we worked with a self-regulatory organization here in Zug on getting financial intermediary license. And this is actually almost done. We went through the examination, and this status of financial intermediary, called IML license, right, that already enables us to trade cryptocurrencies, to sell and buy cryptocurrencies, to onboard customers according to Swiss IML regulation. And that allows us basically to move into operational modus. This is great, right? But actually, as I mentioned at the beginning, for us, it's all about security tokens and asset-backed tokens. And whenever a token starts to look a little bit like share or some profit participation, in many cases, this is the case when you move into the space of asset-backed tokens. The only way to legally trade it is actually if you have some kind of security dealer license or exchange license, right? And this is what we are currently working on a security dealer license. And in parallel, we started the work on banking license, which is going to be very important for us to basically operate as an independent platform. And independent, I say independent, I mean independent of banks. Banks, to me, guys, today it feels pretty much the same as it was back in 2014, working in a Bitcoin space and trying to get a bank account. It was very difficult. It was almost impossible. You had to look around the world for this one bank that is going to work with you. So unfortunately, this is today again the case, but not just with Bitcoin company, with any blockchain related company. As soon as they mention there will be a token or they will engage in fundraising activities through the token. That's a little bit unfortunate, and I don't see this situation being solved very fast by traditional banks. This is why we decided to take advantage of smaller jurisdictions that are moving forward with small banking license for fintech innovators, and this is going to be one of our core competitive advantages going forward.
So what is your favorite topic? Is it regulation or is it banking relationships?
Definitely not banking relationships, because we've been victim too, right? So that's another topic.
Maybe we've got two questions on competition, so on the competitive advantage that you just mentioned. One, Tom from Hong Kong is specifically raising bitgo is in the business for years. How does Smart Valor plan to compete? The other question is just generally, what is your competition? Who is your competitor?
So, so on bitgo, I mean, of course, those folks have been in the space for years. They developed their own solution. You know, we kind of figured out that you cannot do it all yourself, right? There are so many things to build and so many fights to fight, right? You have regulation, security, market growth, and all of those stuff. So we're going for this partnership approach, right? We're taking the best security for the provider that is, one of the best in that space. We take the exchange from the other. So we're going through this partnership approach. So we're not building all the tech ourselves, right? And that enables us to put resources, available resources, into other area of development. So to be very specific on advantage we will have with our solution is that we are a real Swiss company, right? We're based here. We will have a licensing in place that allows us to be custodian of crypto assets here in Switzerland. And
not only of Bitcoin,
exactly,
which is obviously the only thing existing today.
At least with some companies like Sapo, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But what we've seen is that whenever serious investors are moving into the space, for them it's not just enough to be sure that that tax solution is good, right? For them, it's always the question is like, where is the legal company entity? Who is responsible? Where are those people? Where are the servers? And so on and so on. And while bitgo is in US and I mean it's a global company, but with a focus on US, and Coinbase rolling out their custody solution, they will be the destination for mostly US-based customers, right? But we here in Switzerland, being the world's largest wealth management center, gonna be at the competitive advantage at the time when traditional investors will start to move into this space, and wealth managers and family offices here in Switzerland will start to look for the solution here based in Switzerland, right? And actually, I'm talking about it in the future tense, but it's actually already happening, right? We see a lot of interest, and it's just like, our industry needs to be professionalized and kind of, we as an industry as a whole not yet there, right? We need to grow, we need to establish ourselves, we need to have secure infrastructure in place. And I think with that, we will have a significant competitive advantage going forward. And correct me if there is something else.
Just to expand a bit, we were talking a lot about the custody side of the things, but if you look at trading securities on the blockchain, I mean, this is a space we are just getting into. The entire industry is just getting into. We have a current market cap, it stays consistently below 300 billion US dollar for cryptocurrencies. But if you look at the potential once we start trading real assets on the blockchain, I mean, this market cap can become quite quickly into the trillions, multiple trillions at some point. So we see many comparable business models emerging. For example, in the United States, T0 as a centralized security exchange. On the other hand, we see what's happening on the protocol side. For example, Harbor, who is working on a decentralized trading of regulated security tokens. So there are many things happening. But given the volume of this potential market, real assets on the blockchain, this is just the first early adopters getting into the space, and so there is more than plenty of room for all of us, for hundreds of exchanges of this kind, before it really becomes a very competitive market. And on a side note here as well, dealing with securities, Olga's favorite topic of regulation, we always have to deal with regulators. And all of us in the industry, I think we are a few steps ahead of pretty much any of the regulators in regards to the ideas of decentralization. But whenever you talk to a regulator, he needs to make sure, if you're dealing in securities, that you comply with the laws of the jurisdictions you are issuing these assets to and where you are soliciting investments from. So there are many exciting things happening in the United States, but there also needs a place to trade in securities in Switzerland, in Europe, and well, there also needs a place for traditional offshore banking, of transferring this offshore wealth also into regulated trading venues.
Yes, and at the end of the day, you know, guys, the same way Switzerland became the global capital of wealth management, you know, where trillions of dollars are managed. The same way with things that custody and management of crypto assets from all over the world is going to be also centered here, right? Because, you know, the privacy policies, the protections, the stable environment, right? The protection of law. All those things, they are adding another layer of security and trust for institutional and traditional investors. The things that is so much needed in crypto space. That is, I think, what is quite different in terms of our position in crypto space. Alex, do we see much more question coming in?
We have got, I think we've got enough questions for the next 2 hours. So I hope that you guys have no meetings planned here.
No lunch for us today.
I don't think we're gonna do this for the next 2 hours, but in terms of time, and I think we have 20
we still
minutes.
have 20 minutes at least, yeah. So next question is, we've got different questions on the ICO side. Do you do an ICO first of all? Second question, when is the ICO, if there's one? And the third one is, how do I get a white paper?
Oh, that's a lot of questions, right? So, yes, do you guys want to take it?
Yeah, sure. So let's start. Well, where do we start? Let's start with, we are currently in a private pre-sale. We have not made any big announcement, but we are currently in a private pre-sale phase, and actually we are just about to close the current pre-sale round. We have had a very small raise in September, October last year of approximately 1.5 million. And we are currently doing the second round of the private pre-sale. It comes along with a big bonus, where we are selling 5 million Valor token, which brings in about 3.3 million Swiss francs. So this is the current private pre-sale round we are running. To anybody who is interested, well, it's oversubscribed, but there is still, I think, on the website, on the top right, on our website, smartvalor.com, there is a link to register for this pre-sale to get whitelisted. If somebody is interested, please fill out the form. Once you sign up, you will also receive our white paper. So this is not a question. The white paper has not yet been officially published. We've done it the other way around. We first build a solution, then we are now finalizing the white paper. We will very soon, through all our channels, make it publicly accessible. but for the time being, it's still in a draft version, so we send it to the people interested in
The reason
participating.
being, we have a lot of Germans on board, so it needs to be perfect. Before we publish our white paper, it needs to be like really look good. So until we get there, we will polish and polish and polish, right? But
So,
it's going to be probably in the next several weeks.
Exactly. So the current version is still a dirty one, but yeah, to anybody who registered on the website, they will receive the white paper. Now to the question of an ICO. Well, we're doing a pre-sale, so we can probably not really hide the fact that at some point we will be doing an ICO, but for different reasons. For one, in order to be compliant with the Swiss regulator, but also for the contributors. We will make the ICO after the launch of our platform. So the idea is that from day one or shortly after closing of the ICO, people will be able to use the full utility of the Valor token, and they don't have to wait for half a year or a year to pass until we fully develop the solution. So no, again, we do it the other way around. We will first, we do this pre-sale now, the private pre-sale, but then we launch the platform, and with this also the public ICO.
Yes, and probably the great thing is that also we've seen great interest in this private pre-sale. Also, we didn't even advertise, we didn't do any press release. There is basically no information about it on the internet, but still there was quite an interest. And since we are working on a certain tokenization solution for funds, we have already currently 6 venture capital funds on board, which are participating in current round, and all of this will be disclosed in the next press release when we close the round, which is going to be also quite soon. The reason for delay is a little bit that we had significant problems with banking partners, right? So we were receiving initially funds on one bank account, which was closed, and on the other bank account, this was also closed, and that just confirmed us in our willingness to put even more resources in working even harder on receiving our own banking license as soon as possible. And basically, of course, the KYC topic, right? We need to KYC all the contributors, since the Valor token is a payment and utility token. So, and being a payment token, it's kind of becomes money. So if it's money, you need to know who is sending the money, right? So that's, of course, that's adding a little bit friction, and we are very aware of the fact that we would otherwise raise much more without it. But for us, it's not about just doing something fast. For us, it's all about being legal and compliant, and doing the stuff according to the Swiss law.
Okay, Michael Riener writes that I'm a private equity professional undergoing a transformation into tech-based finance world. Where do you see the biggest challenge for private equity investors in regard to adapting their businesses? And what are the main enablers to overcome this challenge?
That sounds interesting. So I think the problem is temporarily. Like now we live in this world, where we have cryptocurrencies and we have protocol tokens and we have all this ICOs coming up as basically, new type of formation of capital in startup space, right? Um, and for most people, it's difficult to make their hand around the concept of tokenomics. This token that represents utility in a business, participation in a business, but it's not equity. That's a very new concept. And then the difficulty is, so you kind of still have this equity, you have cash, and you have token, right? 3 different components. And out of those 3, you need to come up with a valuation and to determine how to invest in this business. So that becomes very complex, right? And this is the reason why there are 400 crypto hedge funds with people that are specialized in investing in those companies, right? But as we move forward, and we will see more and more securities, basically shares, equity, being issued in the form of a token, This will become ever easier because the concept is basically the same. It's just, that this legal contract that used to be investor participation or shareholder agreement that is replicated by a token issued on the blockchain governed by a smart contract, right? So that's just that's the technical change, right? Um, Not big one, but huge in terms of how we're gonna deal with investment in this space, right? If it's a token, it's tradable, it's peer-to-peer global network, right? I can give it to you and you can give it to Oliver, and this all happens within 20 minutes, right? And this global settlement, instant settlement, that will enable much better liquidity even in the asset classes which are today less liquid, such as small companies, private companies, real estate, art, uh, basically all the space of alternative investments, right? So I think the difficulty is temporarily stay with us, learn the space, come to our education topics. Crypto Summit is going to be a great educational event also in October, and the sky will get more sunny as you go.
Maybe just to add on to this, Olga, you mentioned the topic of liquidity. And well, you see, if you're now talking about tokenizing private equity, of course, we had Julian talking before about security. This is a key consideration. Of course, regulation, Olga's favorite topic. So we there are certain things that need to happen before we can really move into let's say mass adoption of trading tokenized securities on a blockchain, tokenized private equity. But once we complete these two, let's say, milestones, we as a company, but also we as an industry as such, the major challenge will be actually in liquidity. Especially in the private equity space. I mean, if you just look currently at the cryptocurrency space, what kind of liquidity you get once you move out of the top 10 cryptos. I mean, even in the top 10, it's already at times difficult. And the more alternative assets and privately held companies we start to tokenize, liquidity will become an issue. It will be partially counterbalanced by using cryptocurrency payment gateways and by making these investments international, not like many, let's say, crowdfunding platforms that are just operating in one local jurisdictions. We will improve liquidity through the making tokens very fractional. You can trade very small stakes, not just the big stake tickets. So this will all help the concept of the liquidity. But still the problem remains, these illiquid assets, alternative assets, they don't lend themselves to trading on an exchange. You will never get a deep order book. It will be very difficult to motivate market makers to engage in these kind of assets. And so for us, we've been working on it also for quite some while, especially in these alternative investments, decentralized trading, for allowing direct swaps in different assets without going through a centralized exchange. This is the way forward, but it needs to comply with all the security and regulatory considerations. So this will be a topic. We'll be launching some things this year, but mostly in focus of next year.
Yes, but if you guys want to see how it works, you can check out our prototype under demo.smartvalor.io, and here you can create your own token, your own asset if you go to tokenization machine, and then you can also run a smart contract based auction and just see how it works. It's so easy. You just basically say, I have that asset, I have this part of this house that belongs to me. So I want to sell 10 items or 10 tokens of that house. I want the minimal price of that, and the auction should run for 2 weeks. And you click the button, start the auction. we verify if this is true, if you hold this asset, and here you go, right? And through this auction type of settlement and price discovery, we create much better liquidity in the asset class where there would be no trade at all, right? And this is a true innovation that I think not many companies are currently engaged in.
Similar to the trading, Lily from Hong Kong is asking, do you accept fiat? Very specifically to that.
In terms of
maybe that's
tokens
with, I don't know, maybe it's with the IC or maybe it's, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for the token sale, we are accepting Fiat, Bitcoin, and Ether for Ethereum. For the platform, basically, we will accept from the beginning Fiat, main cryptocurrencies, starting with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and our vision is to follow basically the the growth of the other cryptocurrencies and to handle them based on their impact on the market. So if there is, I don't know, Cardano with ADA coming up and being really used for trading, for investment, we will also plug with this cryptocurrencies. That's easy. Or EOS, of course, or for name or NEO as well. That's very flexible on that side.
Exactly.
Okay, next one is coming. Sorry, I just lost it. Second one is coming from Philip. He is asking about other asset classes with Philip Becker. In real estate, art collection, hedge fund, where is the next promising development for Smart Valor? Could it be different by country, different appetite?
Yes, by the way, hello Philip, nice to see you. It's one of our early contributors. Thank you very much for joining. Great that you also made it during the lunch break. So basically, look, there are so many asset classes, as you pointed out. There are all these different pockets of opportunities and interesting investment products. We figured out, that behind different asset classes there is a lot of differences in terms of process and the way the whole process pass between creating this token and legal contract and making it putting it on distribution platform. So we basically focus initially on three assets: on cryptocurrencies, on utility tokens, and on crypto hedge funds. So this is out of the space of crypto, right? And then we are working on something called tokenized Swiss franc. This is basically tokenization of national Swiss currency, token Swiss franc. We need it because we need a settlement layer for all these auctions, for trading any kind of other assets. Decentralized trading, exactly. And this is a big important case for us, right? So it's kind of like stable coin, right? Based on 100% backed by Swiss franc, right? And then another important area in asset-backed token for us is real estate, because real estate, if you look at traditional markets, this is the biggest asset class. It's over 200 trillion. This is asset class where a lot of our other contributors coming from, and we receive actually on daily basis requests about tokenization of different real estate, properties or portfolio of properties, right? This is going to be a central asset class for us going forward, and the asset class that we will start with in the space of security tokens. And finally, coming down to the security token, which represents a share in a company equity. And here we target more private, small companies, basically like startups and growth companies from blockchain space, right? So within those several pockets of opportunities, this is where we will focus our activity. And of course, the sub-asset classes are so broad, we will not be able to cover all of them at the beginning, so it's going to be stage by stage. So.
Just to make it really clear, we are not the asset issuers ourselves. We are providing the platform. So to anybody who listens and has a great idea of what to tokenize, please get in touch with us. We are looking for partners. We are providing the infrastructure, the regulatory frameworks. We can support on the legal side, through partners, but we are looking for partners who are interested in issuing and launching on our platform.
So we've got another question from Musa in Saudi Arabia about the security, or whether it is a security or a utility token that we're using for investments in digital assets. And then some questions on the ICO as well. Maybe we have got quite a number of questions still coming in, so please, those which are not going to be answered, please leave your email address and we'll get back to you. The management itself will come back to you just in case we're running out of time, because we're now just shortly before 1 o'clock.
And by the way, the most flexible way, if you want to have interactive discussion on those questions, join our Telegram group. I'm sure you will see it on the slides very soon, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. And everyone will be able to have access to the answer.
Exactly. So we started this Valor network channel on Telegram quite recently. You know, I think in terms of, you know, what we do, how we do it, how we engage with the community, you will hear a lot of news from us in the next several weeks. We are rolling out the contributor engagement program, which is, you know, partially going to be basically kind of like bounty program, but for us it's not just about bounty. For us it's about building a base of investors that are gonna engage on our platform. And the great thing about it, and maybe just for you to leave you with a keynote, what is different about our platform from what exists today is that we are all about regulation and making sure that investor protection, security and compliance are taken seriously. This is number one. Number two, we are all about security and making sure that the infrastructure we put in place is state of art and following the best achievements of cryptography and security technology today. And number three, we are about community-based approach. So on our platform, anybody who has expertise in this field, right? Be it cryptocurrency, investments in real estate, in different assets, right? People can contribute their knowledge, write performance reviews, give up estimation about yield, engage and provide content. All of this is going to be rewarded in our own internal currency. And a part of what we make in terms of revenues is going to be naturally go to those contributors on the platform. And this is actually the ultimate goal of the Valor token. The Valor token has a goal to engage community, to give community the way to be part of this platform, to be part of this value creation, to engage, to earn rewards, to earn money, basically, and create with us all those great investment opportunities. And with that, probably we are running out of time. I would love to talk to you much more about it. I think the great thing is we decided that we will do this kind of sessions every 2 weeks. So please write us your questions, your suggestions. We will collect them and address in the next session. And with that, I think we will probably wish you all a great day. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Great evening for those in Asia.
In Asia, yes, and good
Try
morning.
to make a lunch break for those in Central Europe.
Yeah.
Or the breakfast in America.
Exactly, and good morning to South America. Okay, goodbye, guys.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.